The National Comprehensive Cancer Network, or NCCN, was established in 1995 by academic cancer centers around the country to come together and develop clinical practice guidelines to help patients with cancer. And the mission of NCCN is to improve the quality, effectiveness, and efficiency of cancer care so that patients can live better lives. It was important for NCCN to implement an LMS so that we could have one destination site where our learners could come for all of the NCCN education. And that way we could push out to them updates to the guidelines and information that they could immediately put into practice to help their patients. In 2011, we decided to look for a learning management system so that we could decrease our costs, but also so we could create a destination site for all of our learning. We also found through our investigations that a learning management system would also allow us to produce our programs much quicker, and we found we've been able to decrease our production time by about 2 weeks per activity. Well, we investigated a lot of different options when we were looking at the Ethos CE system, and we really liked Ethos for a few reasons. First, it was the only system at that time that really understood CME and what CE providers needed, and it really met all of our needs in that respect. And also, Ethos CE didn't have any per learner or per activity costs associated with it. So it was just one flat fee. You can have unlimited number of users and an unlimited number of activities. And that was important for us because we average about 175 activities per year and over 33,000 learners each year. In working with the Ethos CE implementation team, I found them to be very thorough, and they really investigated each of our use cases to make sure that the system was going to provide what we needed for each type of learner that we had. Somebody who was coming to our site for the first time or a returning user, and really understood what we needed from an administrator side as well. So it was very thorough. It maybe took a little bit longer than it needed to or than we expected it to, but in the end, we really had all of our needs met, and they made sure that any customizations that needed to be done were also addressed. In terms of support, Ethos has been really great. There's never been any ticket that I've submitted that's taken more than 3 days to resolve. In terms of return on investment, we've really been focused on the percentage of grant funding that we keep in-house instead of using our third-party vendors, and that has increased as we've implemented the Ethos CE system. We also take a look at the number of learners that we have each year and how many of them return. For example, about 44% of our learners from last year completed more than 4 NCCN activities each year. We also saw an increase of overall learners by 16% from 2015 to 2016. The Ethos CE system has really allowed us to continue to offer excellent education to all of our learners. In the past few years, we've had a lot of turnover in the NCCN CE department, and the system has really allowed us to continue to offer over 175 activities each year to over 33,000 active learners, and it's been administered by one person for the last 3 years. No other system that we investigated would have allowed us to continue at that pace. Ethos CE has allowed us to achieve a lot of our departmental goals. One of them was to optimize our use of technology, which Ethos clearly has. We have over 100,000 registered users of our activities all throughout the world. It's also allowed us to decrease our overall activity time from planning to implementation. We've been able to reduce the process by about 2 weeks per activity. It's also allowed us to achieve some organizational goals. Again, it's been a very cost-effective solution, which allows us to keep more of the grant funding in-house instead of paying third-party vendors. And it really It has also allowed us to have a destination site where learners can come for all of our education so that they can find practical information that they can apply immediately in their practice to help their patients. So each year since we've implemented the LMS, we've seen a decrease in the amount of support phone calls or emails that we receive, and it's been steadily decreasing each year. And usually, when we hear from a person one time, we don't hear from them again. The system is very intuitive and allows the learner to complete a number of activities in a similar fashion so that once they're in the system, they understand it. One thing I like about the Ethos CE system is the user group community that they have. So every month we have a conference call where administrators from around the country get on the call and just discuss what they've been up to, either some challenges they've had or something that they've been able to implement. And it's really been helpful, especially for someone like me, who's the sole administrator of the LMS here at NCCN, to really bounce some ideas off of other people or get some ideas from what somebody else is doing. And that's been really valuable. If you're looking for an LMS, I would say that you really need to have an understanding of your learners' needs first, and then your organization's needs, and just to find a system that really meets the bulk of those needs before any customization is done. And once you find a system that meets those needs, then start talking about customizations. But I would warn that make sure you need them, because when we first implemented our system in 2011, 2012, we had a lot of customizations. And if I could go back and do it again, which I sort of did in 2016 when we had the other upgrade, I found that I really didn't need those customizations. It complicated the system, and if I had just decided instead to adjust some of the processes that we have internally, it would have made all the difference. In the next few years, I'd really like to see some better reporting come out of the system, and I've worked with Ethos to express what our needs are and to see what we can do in the system to decrease the amount of time it takes for us to run reports for our grant supporters. NCCN is also looking to get more into personalized learning, and Ethos has taken a great step with that with their self-assessment module. But just looking at more ways to personalize the learning for our users. And another thing we're looking into is point of care CE and working with Ethos to make that happen within the system.